Quillan, how you feeling? It's just a few days away from your main event here at the Meta Apex. How you feeling? How's the body coming into this fight?
Yeah, body's been good, holding up. Had a big long camp. Very well prepared for this fight, and energy is still high. Still a few days out from the weigh-in, so I'm not depleted just yet. Still feeling good.
And obviously the media obligations, here you are on a media day, things are a little bit different than your normal fight week. Do you enjoy that pressure, and what's it like having that extra stuff being bulked on with this main event?
I like it. I just like, staying busy, especially in fight week. I just want to get to the weigh-ins, as fast as possible, and, having, busy days with a big schedule helps the days go quicker, and, we can just get to the weigh-ins, and then we can eat, rehydrate, refuel, and, get to the fight.
And I know you've been looking forward to this date, and you've been looking forward the first time that you could main event a card. How do you keep the emotions in check? How do you stay focused on the fight and not get too over-emotional and not get too excited for this opportunity?
I think it's like my natural personality to, take things easy and kind of not stress out. I think it's just maybe the Aussie way of thinking is to kind of be like unserious in serious situations, and I think it's just something that I do. I'm good at ignoring all like the high pressure things, and I'm good at just going in there and just doing my thing.
You speak of like the Aussie way, tell me about just the Aussie mindset of fighters. Like every guy that we've seen come from that side of the world has this unique mindset of just go in there, throw hands, and what happens.
Yeah, that's just our culture and our way of thinking. Like I said, it's a serious thing, and sometimes like not in a bad way, take it unseriously, as in terms of like just not stressing out about it. Where like we like to go in there and just have fun. This is fun for us, and I think that's just the way we're built. How we've always grown up. It's just it's just fun for us. Being unserious in a serious situation really helps you let loose and have fun.
Yeah. Are there other guys from that area that you've paid attention to that have been sort of role models for you coming into the UFC?
One in particular is obviously another guy from Perth. JDM. I've always been on his cards coming up. I was. I've been on his undercard back on the regional scene for a long time. Then watching him, get into the UFC and become the champion. It was like it's been always super cool seeing another guy from my home city as well doing his thing. And I'm just always keen to follow along and represent Perth as well.
I was going to say, do you feel like you're part of the next generation? I guess you're not far behind him, but do you feel like you're part of the next generation of fighters coming from that area to kind of help represent?
100%, yeah, and there's a whole hell of a lot more coming. The talent pool in Australia is really, really deep, and even watching, the amateur shows and watching, our up and comers from my gym, I just think it's super high level. Everyone's way better than what I was when I was an amateur. So it's the future is going to be filled with there's going to be a lot of Aussie UFC fighters in the near future.
That's awesome. Well, let's jump to this fight. Obviously, you want to get a main event. I don't think it mattered who was across the line from you that you would be ready to take it, but you did get a tough opponent, Mateusz Gamrot. What's your thoughts on him, and what was your initial thoughts when they gave you that as the matchup?
Yeah, well, I called for it after my last fight, and I'm glad that they gave it. He's a super tough fighter. I know he's no picnic for anyone, and that's exactly why I wanted the fight. I'm not looking to cherry pick my way to the top of the division. I want hard fights. I want someone that's going to put a lot of respect to my name when I win against him.
That's interesting. I didn't realize you were the one that did the call out. So I mean, this was just all respect. It wasn't like there was something that you just saw him above and saw him as a good fight. That would be a fun fight.
I've been watching him fight for a long time, and he's someone who's always respected, and I've been wanting to fight him for ages. Always someone I've envisioned fighting ever since coming up through the pro ranks. So he's always someone I've always pictured on fighting, and a fun test to go up against. So that's exactly why I called him out, and the timing was right because at the time there was a few other lightweights that were already matched up, and he was coming off a win a few weeks before that. So it was like at the time it was just it just made sense to me as well, and And yeah, and it's tough, and I'm not going to call out anyone I think is going to be easy.
Yep.
That'd make me a pussy. So I want to call out the hard fights.
Yeah. Well, and obviously, you're not going to tell me the game plan, but when you just look at your skill set side by side, where do you see that you have the advantage going into this fight?
My ability to mix it up and my well-roundedness is my ability. My ability to attack and finish the fight from any point and anywhere in that cage is my strong suit coming into this one.
And I know you just want to get a win, and any win, especially as a main event, is a good thing. But do you really want to get a definitive finish to kind of help, put an exclamation mark on this, or is it just about going out there?
Yeah, I'm always looking to get a finish. I don't want to spend more time in there than I have to, and going 5 rounds sucks. No matter how how hard and how well you prepare, those extra 10 minutes always suck. So I'm looking to get it done early, but at the same time, I'm not going to be out there looking for it and trying to force it. I'm just going to go out there and just whatever happens, and I'll make do with what I got.
Yep, and just a couple last ones for me. I know a lot of people are looking at you and seeing you as this big prospect. I know some fans off to the side are like, why are you putting him at the Apex? We'd like to see him at a bigger show. Why put him at the Apex? It's a waste. What do you think about fighting here at the Apex? You're going to get to fight in after they just did a remodel, so we haven't even seen what it looks like down there. So I guess, what's your excitement level on that? And when people say that, do you appreciate that? But do you also, what are your thoughts about fighting here at the Apex?
I do appreciate that. You gotta put fun fights in the Apex as well. You can't just have it all on the pay-per-view card. So yeah, I think it's going to be cool. Yeah, obviously, like, the Apex got revamped up, so I get to kind of initiate the new Apex. I think it's going to be really cool, and yeah, I think it's just a test all fighters got to go through is fighting at the Apex. Probably like a bit of a tougher thing maybe to do. I think it depends on what type of fighter you are. Like, I like the spectacle, so the bigger the crowd, I think the more excited I get, and that's why I'm happy that it's going to be a bit more of a crowd than what there usually would be here, so that's going to pump me up a bit more. And yeah, I think as long as I get to walk out with a walkout song, I'll chose something pretty cool for this one, I think. So it's going to pump me up. So I think that's all I need.
And I'm hearing the walkouts might be a little bit different since they've done the remodel, so we're looking forward to see how that plays out.
It's going to be sick.
But if you get a big win here, you got to think that this sets you up possibly for maybe a co-main event or something in a bigger event, should you get a nice big finish here.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I see myself in that position in the near future. So, yeah, to be honest, I haven't really thought too hard about it. I'm just focused on the task at hand and handling business on Saturday night.
Well, speaking of Saturday, what are your keys to the victory? What needs to happen to make sure that you get your arm raised on Saturday?
I need to punch him in the face super hard and, sprawl and brawl, snatch that neck. Just be on constant attack. Just not give him any free takedowns, and can't let him get comfortable with that grappling pace.
Would you say this is the biggest test of your career so far? 100%,
yeah. I think every fight, thus far has always been, a bigger and bigger test, and this one is, puts myself right up there, and that's why I called out for Gamrot after my last fight, is because I thought he's a tough fighter, and a good test to get past.
Yeah, speaking of your career so far, what excites you the most about this stage, that you're in your career?
What excites me the most is kind of how fast everything has gone. Like, if I do sit back and look back, it has gone quite quick. Like, I haven't really got a chance to really lay back and just kind of let things play out. I like just enjoying the moment and letting things play out, and things have played out quite cool, and I'm just excited about how fast I've got into the top 15 now, fighting to get into the top 10, and then things, title contention is coming along soon. So I think that excites me the most, is just what's going to happen in the near future.
I know you say things have gone really fast and it's pretty quick. In the last 12 months, how would you say you have evolved as a fighter? You said it's gone fast 12 months ago. You're a different fighter now. How would you say you've evolved the most?
I find through every camp, I make improvements in all areas. So I never really have a camp where I focus too much on one specific thing. Maybe more this one, because I know it's going to be a lot of wrestling heavy stuff. So I've prepared myself for 5 rounds of grappling. But I think just being able to, stay active and relatively injury-free is just allowed me to stay consistent in the gym and just being able to, evolve just like technically and skillfully in the gym and also, getting used to and getting comfortable with the process of the whole like UFC thing and being comfortable in that UFC octagon.
Speaking of preparing for Gamrot, how do you balance preparing for him as well as not moving away from your own strengths?
It's just, for me, when I prepare for like fights, I just like to know what my opponent's going to do. So I have like I expect what Gamrot's going to do. He's going to shoot early on. So I've just had all my training partners, and I've worked with, a few different people that are going to really help me prepare for that and give me, those looks. So that's kind of it. And then I've been, obviously doing my own thing, making sure I'm not just grappling to prepare for Gamrot. I'm doing a lot of striking stuff too, so I can capitalize on that area where I think I have the biggest strong point is in the open out on the feet.
Yeah, speaking of bringing in people, have you brought in any training partners that have helped to replicate his style?
Yeah, well, that's why I come out here to Vegas like a month ago. So I've spent the second half of my camp out here training at Syndicate. Shout out to them. Coach John Wood allowed me to come down and train with the boys there. I've had some like really good training partners and some good looks at that gym, good bodies to work with that have really helped me prepare for this fight.
All right, thank you.
Just one for me. And thank you for taking the time, by the way. I'm sure that even your career at this point, doing more media, being on the poster, coming to Vegas in the hottest part of the year is just, you got to acclimate to this. But just have to ask, how happy, how content, rejuvenated, how enlightened are you that all your hard work is being recognized by the UFC and by your fan base? The fact that you are going to be on that poster this Saturday and that you're hopefully in the trajectory where you'd like to be as far as your career goes, ahead, right behind, or on top. But how good does it feel this moment, this week, right now?
It feels amazing. This is why I do this sport, is for these moments and for the love of the game. Like everything, not just the fighting, but all the outside stuff outside of fighting that comes along with being in the UFC. It all excites me, and I like this whole process. It's something I've envisioned since very first, since the very first day in the gym. I've always envisioned in like being in these positions. So finally having that all come to fruition is makes me super pumped and makes me just want to push further and further and be greater.
That's awesome, man. Congrats on already having won before even Saturday, and I wish you luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Shout out.